I regularly see the sentiment that people are scared of falling behind. They feel like they have to keep up with all the new stuff. And if they just want to watch this channel or talk with their friends about tech or manage to get a good job in the future, that they have to keep up with everything as it changes. I used to have a term for this. I called it the Dino effect, because back in the day, when I say back in the day, I mean like 5-ish years ago, the original creator of Node, yes, Node.js, decided he wanted to rethink Node and made a thing called Dino. You might not have heard of it. In fact, statistically, a lot of you haven't, but that's fine. Dino was expected to take off, and at the time, I saw so many messages, so many tweets, so much concern that if somebody learned Node instead of Dino, they were going to fall behind. That's what I want to talk about today, that feeling that if you don't get to something fast enough, you're going to fall behind, you're going to be at a disadvantage, and you're not going to find success because you got to things too late. The reason I want to talk about this is I think it's a myth. I could just say that, but you're not going to listen. So instead, I'm going to show you some examples where to all of us, it's kind of obvious. Imagine you're a developer in the early 2000s. You love games and you're really into building the best possible things and keeping an eye on the future. You have aspirations to be really successful in the game dev world. More and more of these powerful phones are coming out that are able to play games. So you decide that's the future. And let's be real, it was obvious. Once the BlackBerry started happening, the future was obviously going to be mobile. We never knew how far it would go, but especially nowadays, there are way more smartphone users than there are computer users. It's like 4-to-1, which is crazy. So if you had started building computer games at that time, you'd be at a disadvantage, obviously, right? Because there's all these people who are doing mobile that are going to reach this massive audience. But you're scared of losing out. So instead, you go all in on mobile. And you go all in on the future. The Nokia N-Gage, which shipped in 2003. If you were building apps for this, you were building janky Java applets. And you could do cool things with them. Like I found footage of Tony Hawk running on an N-Gage. If you went in real hard, real early, because you knew mobile was the future, you have this insight, you are positive the future isn't building computer games, the future is building mobile games. So you become the leading expert in Java applets for feature phones. Now let's step a few years into the future, not even that far. The original iPhone came out just a few years later. The App Store came out a few months after that. When that happens, and there's this new platform that just a year or two afterwards can run Unreal Engine, who's better off? Is the better off person the one who was building these Java applets for N-Gage, who went all in on mobile because they wanted to be first to mobile? Or is the person who's better off the one who just stuck with building computer games, learned the normal tools, and then when the mobile revolution happened, they got in a couple years later? The point I'm trying to make is the person who's better off in the situation, so obviously so, is the one who waited for the market to exist instead of trying to preempt it with an awesome new thing because they were just so excited about it. That said, if you're excited, go all in. Following your excitement will rarely lead you down the wrong path for too long because you'll know when you're going down it because you care a lot about the thing and you can bounce back. But if you're chasing after this idea of getting to something because you're scared of falling behind, you're going to be making a whole lot of N-Gage apps. And that's only going to slow you down. A person who built and became the expert in these crappy Java applets for these terrible feature phones is fundamentally worse off than someone who ignored it until 5 years even after the iPhone came out. Not only is being early not necessarily helpful, it actually seems like it can hurt you. Because if you go all in on those N-Gage apps and now the iPhone happens, you're going to be one of those people saying, why would I ever do that? I can do everything I can do there on my N-Gage totally fine. Why would I ever want the iPhone? Apple's shipping something that is behind. And your inability to get out of the mindset because of the sunk cost, the years you spent in, and how deeply you understand the thing that you were building for, it doesn't matter that you were building for the wrong thing. You're stuck there. And this is so insanely common. I see so many people jumping on a new language, a new framework, or a new technology, new platform, AI, because they're scared of falling behind. All of the things I am great at, all of the things I am known for, I got good at well after the peak of getting into it. I only started writing React code in 2018, and now I'm one of the more prominent React influencers and regularly talk with the React team. I only started doing YouTube in 2022, and now I'm however big I am on here. By the way, hit that sub button, doesn't cost you anything. I just did these things when I wanted to, not because I was scared of falling behind. And the result ended up being I got to leapfrog my peers because my peers were too obsessed with the mindset they formed before the market understood the problem. If you're getting into something like AI right now, if you're getting into a new language right now, if you're getting into a new framework right now, you're getting into the N-Gage. It might end up being the next big thing, but it also might not be. And you really don't get anything from being there so early. So maybe, just maybe, sit it out a little bit, focus on building things you're actually proud of, and stay away from the hype trains until there's one that you're genuinely hyped about. That's all I got to say on this one. Until next time, peace, nerds.